Klizački plesački par Jayne Torvill i Christopher Dean je 14. februara 1984. pred televizijske ekrane doveo više od 24 miliona Britanaca koji su očekivali potvrdu dominacije ledenog scenog svijeta para iz Nottinghama, čije su ulice te večeri bile sablasno puste. Bio je to apsolutni rekord koji je nadmašio TV gledanost čak i finala svjetskog prvenstva u fudbalu 66. koje su Englezi osvojili u onom epskom meču protiv Njemačke. Taj rekord je i do dan danas izdržao sve nalete velikih sportskih događaja. Svojim plesom su gotovo otopili led u olimpijskoj zetri, senzualnošću i interpretacijom čuvenog Ravelovog Bolera. Za mnoge je tek tada Bolero postao hit. Jayne i Christopher su razoružali i ponekad nemilosrdno rigorozne suce. Na semaforu nakon tog zauvijek zapamćenog plesa pojavilo se nevjerovatnih 9 šestica i 6 ocjena 5,9. I taj će rekord ostati nenadmašen, između ostalog zbog toga što je način bodovanja promijenjen. Opus blistave karijere je zaokružen sarajevskim zlatom i nakon 4 zlata sa svjetskih prvenstava, 4 sa evropskih prvenstava, a poslije Sarajeva Torvill i Dean su napravili izlet u profesionalne vode, a na Olimpijske igre su se vratili u Lillehammeru i karijeru zaključili bronzom. U Nottinghamu iz grada dvostrukog fudbalskog prvaka Evrope, odakle je krenula njihova karijera, dobili su ulice sa svojim imenima, a Bolero svoj trg. Mogli bi i u Sarajevu razmisliti o tome. Jayne i Christopher i danas kližu. Ekipa Al Jazeere ih je posjetila u Londonu i uvjerili smo se u njihovu sjajnu formu u kojoj se još uvijek nalaze i nastupaju u spektaklu Holiday on Ice. Pa da ih poslušamo.
Well, it's a great honor and pleasure to having us here 40 years later. And my first question might be in which sort of physical conditions you are. But I saw you on the ring, the skating.
We're still skating. We're still moving around. We call it age-appropriate skating now. But we still try to push ourselves as much as we can. You know, we're still trying to be as original as we can on the ice. And so we still get the love and enjoyment from it, being able to perform in front of an audience.
Who is power driving between you two in this late age? Late age.
Chris. Yeah, so, he always has been.
Can you follow the rhythm? Can you follow the pace?
Yeah, I can keep up with him.
Yeah, she keeps up with me.
Yeah, definitely.
We push each other, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we've spent so many years. Like next year, although it's 40 years of Sarajevo, just around the corner, the 14th of February, but next year we will have skated together for 50 years. And so
incredible.
It's a long time. It's a long partnership, and you know we're just good friends as well.
We will be for 50 years of Sarajevo together again, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah, there's every chance of that.
10 years.
Thinking back, when Sarajevo got the Olympics, it was 18th of May, 78 in Athens. In which stage, in which phase your partnership was in this time?
In 1978, we'd only been skating together for like 3 years.
In that time though, I think we got to the British champions.
Yeah.
And then we
had already done our first European championship, I think, in 78.
I think we were 8th or 9th in the worlds at that time.
Yeah.
And so it was quite a quick rise, you might say. But for us, we just focused on what we had to do, the skating. The big thing is, to begin with, when we started skating, we both had full-time jobs.
Oh, right.
I was a policeman. Jayne worked in an office. And it was not until 1980 that we decided we had saved enough money ourselves to be able to continue skating for another 6 months, something like that. So we finished our jobs and just took the plunge and decided that we would do our best at competition. And it was that year that we won our first World Championship back in 1981.
We were hoping that we'd get a medal. And we were
in Sarajevo.
No. We hoped
before.
This is in 81. This was the lead up to.
81. We thought we have a chance, looking at on paper everyone else and who'd retired. We had a chance to maybe get a bronze medal, but we found ourselves getting a gold medal at the World Championships in 1981.
And European Championship later on.
European Championship.
So the next thing was each year lead up to the 1984 Olympics, because that was our goal, to get to the Olympics.
Target was higher and higher.
Already we set a high bar, so it was having to maintain that for 4 years.
What did you know about Sarajevo in this time?
Not very much, to be honest. I mean, at that time, it was Yugoslavia.
Yes.
And
we had some competitors were from Yugoslavia, weren't they, competing at Europeans and Worlds?
Sandra Dubravcic, she later on Flame.
Yeah. So not that much going to Sarajevo, but we'd heard that the people were very lovely, very friendly, old town, part of Sarajevo as well.
Mixed up with civilization, culture, religions, etc.
Yes.
So you chose very unusual way to travel to Sarajevo if you compare with other teams who's coming on Sarajevo. You travel by train.
I think, yes.
We wanted to train right up to the last minute,
It was to do with the training, really, so that initially the British team wanted us to fly home so that we could train with them. But once we left Germany, we had nowhere to train properly before flying back out again. And we worked out we'd missed so many days of training, and it was far better, because I think the German team were arriving a bit later anyway.
And they offered us a place on the train. So we went from Munich, I think it was from Munich, all the way to Sarajevo.
Yes, it was direct line Munich-Sarajevo. Unfortunately, doesn't exist any more line between.
17 hours train ride.
It was a long time, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were the German team, and we were very focused
we were
about...
friendly with all the skaters anyway, so...
And what was your first impression when you looked through the windows of the train, when you passed through the Yugoslavia, through the Croatia, Bosnia?
Well, the countryside was beautiful. I mean, gorgeous, wasn't it? And
I feel like there was snow on the ground.
there was snow there, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit snow,
when we got into Sarajevo, the mountains around. But to be honest, you know, when you're potentially... We felt the pressure of the gold medal. We were going there as world champions, and so we sort of put this dome around us that we didn't
want to get distracted.
Get distracted. So we'd arrive, all we wanted to do,
focus completely.
Get to the village, get settled, get organised, look at the skating plan, organise our day, because we would be there for 2 weeks, and I think it was about 10 days before we did our final, and so we really plotted our time out. We pretty much stayed at the village most of the time because we just wanted to be focused and not distracted in any way. So it wasn't until after that we got more of a chance. And I do remember going around the old town.
Yes.
And also I got a chance to go down the bobsled with the British team.
Yes.
So they let me get in the back of the bobsled and have a go down the...
I declined.
I can imagine. When you get out from the train, when you go to the Olympic Village, which is completely new settlement, what was your impression? How do you look? How do you feel in this new, let's say, surrounding?
I think just wide-eyed, because you don't know what to expect. Each Olympics that we've been to, the actual Olympic Village has been completely different. And this was new from memory. It was new and built especially for it. So the buildings were new, weren't they?
I think, you know, what we think now, communication-wise, when you went to the village, there was like a couple of telephones. There was always a line, and that was all there was. There's no cell phones at that time. It was just a landline, and you didn't have no
internet.
And so it was a dial-out telephone, and there was always a line of people calling home, you know, a different time altogether.
Traveling to training, to practice on Zetra, whole Zetra, you has habit to go very early. Is it correct?
Well,
you spend almost all day there.
The day of the competition, there was one training session which was in Zetra.
This is the final part of the competition, what we call the free dance part.
And before that, we'd not had many training sessions on the main rink. So it was at 6 a.m. in the morning, and all of the rest of the British team and whichever other country were meant to train with us, they declined. They didn't come in because
it was too early and it would be too long a day for them.
Too long of a day. But we did go in. Yeah.
We went in, and we thought it was just us, our trainer, and the person that pressed the music. So, and we always had a habit of doing our routine full out, whether anybody was there or not. But we used to do it as a whole performance, and we did it as we hoped to do it in the evening. Started at the beginning, went all the way through, finished, and then as we didn't think anybody was in, but as we'd finished and started to stand up, we heard this ripple of applause all around the arena, and it was the cleaners that was cleaning.
We looked up and then
unbelievable.
So we were first in, and the other memory is that we were last out.
The last
because
out
we took a long time to do doping, so you have to provide a sample, and we were dehydrated and press conference, and I remember literally everybody had left. And we were walking out
with a coach and team leader.
Nobody.
Just the two of us. You know, we've been on this high. There've been thousands of people in there, and then it was empty again, like in the morning, and then like at the end. It was almost like we were closing the door on the day.
Quick step back. Both of you start like 7, 8 years old skating or something like this?
I was like 8, almost 9. You were a bit older, weren't you?
I was a late starter. I was 10 when I started.
And football didn't buy you?
Well,
Nearly.
I was captain of the football team.
Nottingham Forest, of course.
Well, they were the team to follow, but at school I was captain of the football team until skating took over.
So who attract who when you get together?
That's an interesting story, because Jayne had been a pair skater, which is different from ice dancing, and her partner had left to go to London. I'd been a dancer, but my partner left to go to London, and a trainer, a well-known trainer, Janet Sawbridge, came to Nottingham to start training people, well, to come and train me and my partner, but she left. And so we were looking for a partner, and guess who was free?
And who made the first step?
I think it was
coach put us together, I think.
It was the coach, because she must have known of me and what I'd done and could see, and there was other coaches in the ring that worked with her, and I think they decided that we would be a good match, and with height difference and everything, and just even though I was a pair skater, I got the same ice dance qualifications as Chris had, so you take ice dance test to a certain level, and I got the same level as Chris, and so
After the first day, or after the first couple of days, the coach said, "Well, are you going to be a partnership? Are you going?
How do you feel?
How do you feel?" We didn't want to be super. We didn't want to. What's the word I'm looking for? We didn't want to jinx it by saying yes, we're going to be a partnership. So we said we'll let you know.
Hurry up.
Next week. Or the week after. And 50 years later, we still haven't agreed whether we're going to skate together.
No, we're still late.
40 years later, 50 years later.
50 years later. She's still on probation.
Look, this is specific sport, definitely very different than other team sports, but this is a lot of is going on. When you are together, we are dancing together. What is the most important, the sense of the music, or sense of the dance, or sense of physical preparation?
I don't think you can put it down to one thing. It's all of those things.
Components.
But also, it's the relationship.
And I think
that's what I want to ask you. How thin a line or thick line between relations, because it's very sensitive, sensual sometimes, and the private life? Partners from one side, other side, been jealous?
For the longest time, we didn't have partners. It was just the two of us.
We didn't want anything to get in the way because we were focused and competing, etc. So
really, it wasn't until after the Olympics and when we started touring that we then started to have other relationships. But even that didn't get in the way of what we were doing. We always played skating. As our career.
We grew up together as teenagers. Well, we knew each other before then, but when we started skating together, we were teenagers. So we went through those teenage years. But
20s, 30s.
Yeah, luckily we did.
40s.
Oh, jubilees.
Yeah, luckily we still both had the passion for skating, and that was always number one for us was the skating was the most important thing.
And now we have this TV show called Dancing on Ice.
Yeah, I know.
Which has kept us together and kept us, you know, it's afforded as an opportunity to still be skating. You know, we've been doing this now, near 16 series over 18 years. So we've been doing this longer than we were competing. So this has been as much a part of our life that's enabled us to still be able to go out and perform and skate.
And it's kept Bolera alive too, because that becomes a part of the competition.
At the end of the competition, the celebrities all have to perform a version of Bolero, their version.
Well, we are coming on Bolero. I mean, a lot of us, we knew Ravel, Bolero, but not many people accept Bolero like a hit, music hit. For us, you make Bolero so famous. How did you decide to choose this music and choose the dancing?
It's a long story. You know, each year we come up with a concept of something. We'd done something called Mac and Mabel, which was from the silent movie period. Then we did Barnum, which was from the circus. So we were looking to go in a completely different way. And we'd been using the music, Bolero, as a form of warming up. We'd get on the ice and stroke around.
Nice and gentle.
And the full-length version is 18 minutes or 19 minutes. And what happens with it? It starts very small and it grows bigger and bigger to a crescendo. And we liked the format of that, of how it progressed musically. And we wanted to capture that in 4 minutes. And so then we had to find an arranger. We got an arranger to arrange the music, and then we had to get musicians to play the music in a studio. But they could only get it down to 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's what I want to ask. How did you realize
4 minutes,
this?
28 seconds. And so that's why we had to, but out of necessity, we started on our knees. And what happens, the ruling at the time was, when you start to skate, the stopwatch
so when your skate
pressed.
touches the ice.
So
touches
we did
the
this
ice.
whole moment to the beginning on our knees and swaying. I lift Jayne, and when her feet touched the ice, that was when the stop.
That was the right time.
That was the right time, and then we finished at 4 minutes 10 seconds, which is fine.
4:10. Yeah.
It was really a fantastic, perfect day. It's Valentine's Day, 14th of February.
We call it Bolero Day.
Bolero Day. And then what is for us was very important. This day, Jure Franko won the silver in the giant slalom.
Yes.
And I was there, I've been there, and the whole atmosphere was incredible.
Yeah.
How you can describe this day? If you can remember, not all details, but...
Yeah, I mean, the actual performance...
And Prince Hans was there as well. So
That's
is
right,
it more
Princess Anne
pressure?
was there. That's the whole thing. We didn't think
Block
about that.
everything out.
Okay.
We trained and trained and trained to the point whereby the bodies took over, but we could emotionally engage with the performance. And as we were skating, it felt like there was a bubble around us. We couldn't hear or see the audience. It was just the two of us. It was quite an intimate piece. And it crescendoed. And as we finished lying on the ice, it was almost like somebody pressed the button for the sound. And there was suddenly all applause and cheers and people standing up, and we were back in reality. But for that moment, it was almost like we were in a trance, wasn't it?
Did you ever talk between the performances?
Just eye
Never.
contact.
Just eyes contact.
Yeah.
You understand perfectly what...
When you've worked together for so long, you feel all the movements and the positions, and you can almost read each other's mind.
And then you wake up, and when you saw all six...
Yeah.
What does it mean? Never ever happens. Never ever happens.
Will happen again.
24 million spectators in Great Britain and billions in all over the world. Did you feel this atmosphere on your shoulders?
The arena, the people in the arena.
Yes, I remember that after we'd finished, there was huge applause, and then lots of flowers were thrown onto the ice, and we started to pick up some of the flowers along with the flower girls.
And it taking so long.
And then there was another huge roar, because in the meantime the judges had put the scores up before we'd even got off the ice, and then I remember looking up at the scoreboard and seeing
full set of sixes.
Yeah.
You've been 10 years ago in Sarajevo, but there's a nice story about when you mentioned the flowers.
30 years ago, after 30 years, 10 years ago, we did go back. And we met, there was a little girl that collected some flowers. She was 6 years old and gave them to us. And when we went back on the 30th anniversary, there was this 36-year-old lady that gave us some flowers, and it was the same little girl.
Yeah.
Part of this incredible gold, and that is like roof of your career, amateur career. What I remember from Sarajevo, do you remember some restaurants, some food? What is you've been exciting out of the task for the gold?
Most of the time, we just ate in the village, and we had very little opportunity. But
10 years ago, when we went back, we were able to see a bit more of the city, and we met the mayor of Sarajevo.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was the launching of the rest of our life. From Sarajevo, from that moment on. That's why we're still here and talking to you today.
And then it's Olympic Games in Lillehammer, and then basically you decide to go to Profi. What is the basic difference to transfer from this status another one, a new one? Is it new dresses, new arrangements?
From Sarajevo to Lillehammer was a 10-year period.
And we were professional.
And we turned professional. It was because of Lillehammer that they opened up the competition to return. And so it was a big thing for us to go back 10 years later. But for us, it's an expressive art form. And so we've always been trying to push the boundaries of taking it into entertainment, but also in a balletic kind of way. And going back to competition was going back to very defined rules and regulations, and so for us, it was tough, difficult situation.
I can imagine the new scoreboarding.
Yes.
Did you be confused about this?
I think everybody's confused about it.
Have you arguing with the referees or the judges?
There are obviously
disappointing.
It can be. The problem is, I feel, is that it's not clear to the public of
what they're trying to do,
how it's scored and how it's marked. The transparency of it feels complicated.
Because I've asked certain people, and I've asked Chris.
Jane hasn't been involved with skating as much. I've choreographed for a lot of skaters since that time.
But I said, well, what is the equivalent of the perfect score now?
There isn't one.
And there isn't one
at the moment.
It changes.
I mean, there is a top score. I don't know what it is. If you get perfect on every level.
Right.
But that hasn't been achieved.
No.
At the moment, how much you are involved in British skating? In which form you are involved in British skating?
When people come and ask me to choreograph for them, I'm happy to choreograph. So, I've worked with many people over the years. Olympic
champions. You've been doing some teaching here since you moved back to the UK.
Yes, British couples. I worked with Aliona and Bruno, who were the last Olympic pair champions for Germany. But I enjoy the process of the creative side of skating.
Is there anything what you are missing in your career?
I think we're replete. We're quite full up. We feel like we've done a lot. And when you say 40 years, you go, God, that's such a long time. And yet it feels like yesterday as well.
And we've been lucky enough, because of the Olympics, because of Sarajevo, to have lots of opportunities to try new things. And we're always up for a bit of a challenge, aren't we?
Yeah, this TV show, we like to entertain people.
And we can be creative within the TV show.
So many questions, but our time is short. Jayne Torvill and Christopher Dean, it was honor, it was pleasure, it was excitement to talk to you, our guest Al Jazeera. And I must tell you something, your gold is still shining, even stronger than before. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Have a nice time in Sarajevo.
We will.